Hello, I'm Deanna Cooney, your host. Welcome to another episode of Undercurrent. Kicking off this week is the wrap-up party for the Revelation Film Festival. Laura was there to help celebrate this wonderful event. We're here at the Screens West Industry Award Night. Tonight brings together local talent, creatives, crew and industry leaders for a night to cap off the Revelation Perth International Film Festival. We'll talk to some of those talents tonight and also be here for the inaugural Brian Beaton Award. Seth, tell us a little bit about how tonight's going.
Well, I came into this venue about 3 days ago and there were bean bags everywhere. The lights were up. I could see the cracks in the walls and I thought, uh-oh. But I walked in tonight and I thought, wow, this looks pretty good.
Well, like most people in the film industry, you can make something into anything, right?
We have some great set dressers. That's a objective fact.
Now, you've got a big speech planned tonight. Are you nervous?
I am nervous. It's always a bit butterflies in the tummy before a big speech.
And you're announcing the Brian Beaton Award, is that correct?
It is very exciting. It's the inaugural Brian Beaton Award. I was just talking to his business partner, longtime business partner, Celia Tate, and she mentioned, as we all know, that Brian was a revered figure in Perth, particularly in the documentary sector. There's something special about him. People really just loved him. So it's an honor tonight to be able to honor him in this way.
I'm here with Luke and Daniel. Guys, tell us a little bit about the industry and what part you guys take place in it.
So we're kind of starting out. We're pretty fresh. We've just started our own production company and we're both Indigenous, so we're trying to find some Indigenous stories and sort of, we've come to an event like this to, just meet people and see what it's all about. So, yeah.
Now, Daniel, you were telling me a little bit about the documentary you've got in the pipeline. Is that top secret, or can you tell us a little bit about it?
I can tell you a little bit. It involves some lost diamonds and treasure maps and some really remote places in the Kimberleys.
That was a documentary. Luke, do you have something to comment about it?
Not much else. No, it's coming out on NITV later in the year, so keep an eye out for it. We're currently in the edit process, so it should be actually finalised in the next few weeks, and then it'll be aired later in the year, so we're looking forward to it.
Tell us a little bit about what you're here for tonight.
It's a really good way to meet new contacts, and starting out with my theatre degree and my theatre career, it's just really handy to get to know people.
And have you managed to meet some people tonight, rub shoulders?
Yeah, actually, one lady who has been all over the world, she's just given us a lot of information, and we've only been here for about half an hour.
Tell us a little bit about why you're at the event tonight.
Really just here, well, not just for the food and the wine, but also just to celebrate the industry and just to connect with everyone here. And everyone always says that the Perth Film Network is so small, but I mean, look at it, it's huge. But Screen West have really supported me after graduating from film school, and they've just funded a short film that I've just written. So it is exciting, just want to celebrate it with everyone.
So how long have you been in the industry?
Well, I just graduated last year, but yeah, have a couple of jobs and just floating around and writing things, and yeah, we'll see.
And are you excited to hear about the inaugural Brian Beaton Award tonight?
I sure am.
Are you in the running?
I sure am not, yeah.
Well, fingers crossed whoever wins it. Thanks for talking to us, Claire.
Thank you, thanks.
Now, do you think the Perth film industry is growing?
We know it's growing. That's quantifiable. So 10 years ago, maybe there was a movie every 3 years, and in the next 6 months, we'll have 3 movies. It's television. As you know, we have a 30-episode ABC drama filming in Perth, which it's been a long time since we've had anything like that. And our documentary sector with Outback Opal Hunters, Outback Gold Hunters, Outback Truckers, Drain the Oceans, they are selling not just in Australia, but internationally. So there's no question, it's gone gangbusters.
So for all those young budding artists out there, what would you say to them?
I would say keep at it. There's a place for you. There's more work here than there ever has been, and it's only going to continue to grow.
Well, thanks for talking to us, Seth. I look forward to your speech.
I want to diminish your expectations greatly. It will be okay. Thank you so much for having me. Cheers, cheers.
What a wonderful evening. This has been Laura for Undercurrent.
And next week is the Fremantle by-election, so Max caught up with some of the candidates to find out why they deserve your vote.
With the Fremantle by-elections coming in fast, we asked each of the 7 candidates gracing our ballot papers why we should vote for them.
Hi, my name is Dorinda Cox and I'm the Greens candidate for Fremantle.
What do you have to say to the people voting in the Fremantle by-election?
My message to the voters of Fremantle is really that I'm running in this by-election to create a genuine alternative for voters. I really understand the community's issues and the investment that's required, I think, in whether it be our schools, whether it be our small businesses along the Cappuccino Strip, whether it be our essential services that are required like hospitals. It's really important to make sure that we're across the breadth of those issues. I think that we are a very big tourist attraction, but we have to really take a concerted effort to make sure that we maintain and protect those attractions. I think we're definitely a cultural hub. I think that the arts focus of Fremantle is such a big draw card, and I think that if we actually build infrastructure, that we make a commitment and an investment in maintaining what we have there, we can actually see Fremantle transform in the next 5 years.
Hi, I'm Katrina Love and I'm the Animal Justice Party candidate for the by-election in Fremantle on the 28th of July.
So what do you have to say to the people voting in the Fremantle by-election?
I guess the main thing I have to say is that if you care about animals, we'd really like for you to give us your number 1 vote, and then that will flow to whichever major candidate. You know, the Greens or the Labor Party will probably win the seat, but it sends a really strong message to the other animal protection matters. If you have concerns about animal issues, protection, welfare, wildlife culls, shark culls, live animal exports, we're the party to vote for and send a message to the majors that all animals matter and you'd like to see more done for them.
I'm the Australian Christians candidate for the Fremantle by-election.
What would you like to say to the people voting in the Fremantle by-election?
As Australian Christians, we are values-driven. Australian Christians value honesty, integrity, hope, respect, moral law, freedom, justice and sacrifice. Our aim is that each Australian receives the best protection and support, and also the opportunity to contribute to others in life-affirming ways.
In the Fremantle by-election, it is a unique opportunity for the electors, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity basically, where they can elect, whoever they elect, it will be the first time that somebody they elect or an elected official will actually be on probation. So whoever they would choose to elect and put in that position has 12 months to prove their worth to the electors of Fremantle. There's a saying that if nothing changes, nothing's going to change, and I don't think that the previous elected member has represented the people of Fremantle and their interests very well. He's had to toe the party line, and if that isn't in the best interests, well then people have just had to suck it up and deal with it. Whereas an independent like myself is elected by the people for the people. My job is to represent the people of Fremantle and fight for them.
Unfortunately, some of the candidates were not available for interview, but hopefully the ones we did gave you some insight into the candidates of Fremantle this coming by-election. I'm Max Larkin and this is Undercurrent.
This week, our reporter Celeste investigates how people who feel unfairly discriminated against in work or in life can seek help.
You may have witnessed it. You even may have experienced it. Discrimination is still happening every day in many different forms. So I sat down with the Equal Opportunity Commission to discuss and clarify this very complex issue.
We deal with the Equal Opportunity Act 1984, and so how it considers discrimination is in 2 main ways. What we say is direct discrimination. So these aren't actual definitions in the Act, but it's how it's considered. So the first one, it's direct discrimination, is when you're treated less favourably than somebody else because of a particular characteristic or an assumed characteristic. on a range of grounds that are covered by the Act. So it's less favourable treatment than another person in similar circumstances. The other incidence we have is indirect discrimination, which is a lot harder to actually prove, and that is where there's sort of seemingly a neutral rule that exists by an organisation, yet that has an adverse impact on a particular group of people, and those people in that group aren't reasonably able to comply. Like the old example, one of the first cases were in the police force, where they used to only take people who were 6 feet or 180 centimetres, which of course precluded a lot of women.
How can Western Australian people know or recognise that they've been discriminated against?
Under the Act, it's really asking yourself, if I was somebody of a different characteristic, would this have happened to me? And so that's the sort of key thing that somebody asks. So when you go to that shop to get service and somebody else in front of you gets treated differently than you do, that's possibly a characteristic or a comparison. If you're in the employment situation and your colleague gets a training opportunity that's not given to you, why is that occurring? Is it because of your particular characteristic that you're being treated less favourably? So that's the important thing we ask people to consider when they're bringing complaints.
And so looking at the other side of that, if somebody feels like they have been discriminated against in a restaurant type environment, would they come directly to the EOC as well?
Oh, they certainly can. We would, and we'd have to take that. We're obliged to accept complaints if they nominate a relevant ground and area of our Act. But there are other organisations that we've worked with. So for last year we did a project with people with disabilities on the very issue about accessibility into restaurants. Now, people with disabilities try to really encourage people that come to them to deal with the complaint directly with the organisation themselves. So again, that is quite a powerful way to do that, and we would probably reinforce that.
And Diana, is there anything else that you would like to add to continue to educate our viewers on the EOC?
Okay. It's perhaps just worthwhile stating in terms of our complaint handling process, one of the things, and while we say it's quite critical to try to get conciliated outcomes, is that our process is confidential to the parties. So we're obliged to keep confidentiality. We can't obviously ensure that parties have done the same, but we encourage that to occur. So when matters come to us, those details aren't released anywhere, and so and if we have agreements, they're generally confidential as well. That's between the parties whether they want to put that in, and that's quite important again, so that if a matter is resolved, then it's without admission of liability generally. If it's found that they have been perhaps vexatious in terms of filing that complaint, they would probably get a cost order against them. That would be, because generally the State Administrative Tribunal is a no-cost jurisdiction, but where somebody has been found to be vexatious in how they've dealt with their own complaint, then they would probably be looking at a cost order against them. So that's how that would be dealt with.
Excellent. So it's confidential on both sides, on both parties, so you're protecting both sides.
Well, we encourage that. We can't actually stop people from going to the press orders, but that obviously mitigates against trying to get a conciliated outcome.
Right. If you believe you are a victim of discrimination, please reach out to the Equal Opportunity Commission. This has been Celeste reporting to you for Undercurrent.
Grab yourself a cuppa. We're having a short break, but we'll be back very soon with Vox Pops here on Undercurrent.